Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios. It's Football at 4.
And Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It's brought to you by the AC Airport. Plan your summer vacation now. Spirit Airlines is offering nonstop flights from Atlantic City International Airport to Boston, Atlanta, San Juan, Miami, and other exciting destinations. Visit spirit.com. InsideTheBirds.com, Inside the Birds podcast. Adam Caplan, they dropped a new one yesterday at 6 a.m. The new one will be out on Thursday. You can check out the Inside the Birds platform for all your Eagles offseason news and notes. We got all the NFL and Eagles stuff to dive into now with Adam Caplan from Inside the Birds podcast at InsideTheBirds.com as he joins me on this edition of Football at 4. Adam, welcome back. How are you, pal?
I'm good. I hope you're doing well, and certainly a very busy day in sports.
A lot happening, man. A lot happening all over the place. We've got a lot of NFL stuff. The NBA is crazy, but let's we talked on Friday during Football at 4, and then shortly after you were finished, the Eagles weren't done. Howie Roseman was still hard at work. He brought in a veteran safety, Jaquiski Tart, from the 49ers, 14 starts last year, 64 starts in 80 career games. So this guy's got a lot of experience. What does that say to you?
Yes, he's a good football player. So in our reporting, Mike, we put this out in our show 3 or 4 weeks ago. We said we expect the Eagles to sign a defensive back, a corner or a safety. They sign a safety, and we certainly wouldn't rule out a corner by the start of training camp or at the latest, the start of the regular season. That would be a backup veteran outside corner, and we'll get into that in a minute. But Jaquiski Tart, by the way, it's Jaquiski, just for people to understand. His nickname is Kwaski from people with the Niners. I spoke to a coach who worked with him over the years. He's a really good football player. He's just, Mike, he's missed 31 games since he became a full-time starter at 17. That just... You can't keep paying a guy, and he is 30 years old. He's got maybe 2 years left in him. He's a good player. He's an intimidator. He's tough. He's a good tackler. He could hit. Not as good as he is as a like when you look at what he's good at. He's a tackler and a hitter. His cover skills are not as good as he is as a tackler. That's why he's more of a in the box safety, playing closer to the line than he is at a free safety. He's played free before, but he's played most of his snaps in his career, almost not all, but a majority of them, as a box player. And he's got very good size. And what's also interesting, Mike, is he was a college teammate of James Bradbury, which, for what I'm told, Mike, that had something to do with him signing to Philly because they're close. Not all of it, but that had something to do with it. And you would assume that he had good things to say about a short time, Bradbury being an Eagle here, an off-season program. But that's a good signing. Definitely, they needed depth. This is a major issue for them, depth, Mike, at the safety position. And on Thursday's show, on Inside the Birds, Mike, we're going to drop some more knowledge here about how they're going to line them up and why they did this, in addition to what I just said here. And this is a good signing. I like this one. This is the kind of signing you make when you think you're going to take a next jump. Not that he's a superstar, and he may not even start, but when you're trying to round off your roster, we've been talking about this safety position for months now. It's not a good position for them, but they've got a guy in Tart who started a lot of games, as you said, and he was a starter in the Super Bowl run in 19, but he's certainly in his back nine. Let's not talk about him as a full-time starter. He's not going to training camp. Now, it doesn't mean he can't take the job or starting job, but in the end, Mike, Tart's an experienced player, and this makes a lot of sense.
Right. Now, you just kind of hit on that at the end, but many people have asked, does he challenge Epps? Does he challenge Harris? Or did they just bring him in as a depth guy?
Yeah, well, right now, we'll have more on this on Thursday's show on Inside the Birds at 6 a.m. Eastern on all of our platforms. But right now, he's a backup. Harris and Epps are the clear starters. That's not in question. The question will be, will they open up the job? We don't know that yet. Kavon Wallace has been a big disappointment as a fourth-round pick the first 2 years. He's there. Andre Sachare, who's a really good special teams player, is there. And Jared Maiden, who's been around a little bit, with the 49ers, now the Eagles out of Alabama, who was a former undrafted free agent. The Eagles like him. They want to take a look at him. And the thing that's really noticeable, Mike, they've got a bunch of safeties who are 6 feet taller, or at least 6 feet. They've got 3 of them. Typically, safeties are not that tall. They're usually around 5'10", 5'9", that area. They've got at least 3 of them, which is... So actually, you could say 4, depending on where depending on where the kid Maiden measures. But Harris, Tart are definitely over 6 feet, and that's rare in the National Football League. But that's good. You like to have size at the safety position.
Yeah, and I most mentioned this yesterday, Adam. A guy like Wallace might be into. He doesn't play special teams like Chachere. Some of those other safeties that are here. Could he be the guy squeezed out because of special teams?
Yeah. So look, he'll definitely go to training camp. He'll get through the preseason. Now, when we get to week 1, he's going to have to. He's really going to have to earn a spot right now. Looking at his situation, Harris, Epps, and Tart will be on the football team. We'll have details on Tart's contract on Thursday's show, and then you've got Chachere, who's going to be on the team because he's a special teams player. So you bring up a good point here. Where does Kavon Wallace really fit in here? He hasn't really done much in his first 2 years. He's had a couple injuries, but minor in scope. So the question now here is for him, can he earn a spot on the roster? He was on IR last year. He came back over a month later. He just has not made the impact. He's also, by the way, he's more of a box player, and that's the problem. They need more. They need more coverage safeties. That's the one issue that if you study the Eagles that you struggle with. Other than Epps, they need guys who could cover.
All right, Adam. Okay, they get the safety. That was an area you mentioned. Any other signings you foresee happening? Because to me, I mentioned that. Hey, we got a guy that can help us out. Let's improve our team. So what other signings before camp could you envision that could help improve the team, maybe more so than, let's just bring in bodies?
Right. So one thing we should mention is that the season doesn't start till September. So if they don't do anything by the start of training camp, don't worry about it. It's not like they don't know that they have issues on the roster. Not many now because they've addressed them. Running back is one at the time we were looking at the roster situation. We said corner, running back, and safety are ones that, if it's not the start of training camp, we expect them to address by the time the season starts. I would still say that. Running back, look, they could certainly start the season now and be okay with Sanders, Gainwell, and Scott. But Sanders has an injury history. You can't depend on him to play a full season. Gainwell, we've said since he was drafted, the coaches really like this guy. We expect his role to grow. Boston Scott's back. He's got over $1 million in fully guaranteed money. He'll definitely be on the roster. But you'd like to have – Mosher made a very good point. Jeff said that, the thing with Jordan Howard is not only do you not need to sign him now, you could sign him anytime you want. And remember, they cut him, though he certainly should have been on the roster. But the Eagles played, the roster tango where they knew that he could go on the practice squad. Remember, vested veterans do not have to be put through waivers. So what the Eagles did is they told him to be ready. We'll put you on the practice squad. He got ready, and they used it when they needed him. So they don't need to do anything by the start of training camp. That doesn't matter for running back. Running back is the most fungible position. You can pick up on whatever you want. It's the one position, Mike, in free agency right now. There's so many guys out there with size, David Johnson and others. They don't need to do anything now. But I just, unless Kennedy Brooks tears it up in training camp, I would expect them to add somebody by the start of the season.
Okay. All right, here we are. We're on the first day of summer today, Adam Caplan. Eagles roster, how's it shape up against the NFC East teams?
Yeah, someone asked me this on Twitter like a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was really good. So, now we didn't know about the signing of the safety. We didn't know which. We had heard they were going to sign a safety. We just didn't know which one. But I will tell you also, I'll add to that, Jaquiski Tartt was by far the best guy out there. So he feels a need. So if you're just comparing the other three teams, the Eagles have a better roster than the Giants. It's not close. Washington is better than them at certain spots, but people want to say how great the Washington defensive line is. Yeah, sure. They have four former first-round picks, Mike, but they've underachieved last year. Chase Young also tore his ACL. They have a lot of talent in their D-line, no question about it. Certain positions, Washington is better than the Eagles in. Eagles are way better on the offensive line. The Eagles have the best offensive line in football. The Eagles have better depth now and talent at wide receiver. The Washington and the Eagles are shaky at tight end. Other than, obviously, the Eagles are great with Goddard, but their depth is shaky. That's another position, by the way, that they could address at some point. We'll see. We have to see how Wentz could revive his career. I would take the Eagles roster. And at Dallas, it's very close between the two. Obviously, they're better at quarterback. That's not in question. They are better at running back. There's no doubt about that. The Eagles are now comparable, if not better, than Dallas at wide receiver. Eagles' defensive line is better. They've got better depth. Yeah, clearly, Dallas, though the Eagles have improved it, linebacker, Dallas is definitely better. There's no question about that. Dallas, you could say they're deeper at corner, but you know what? I don't know if they're better. I'm taking the Eagles roster, and I'm not a homer. People know that. People think I'm very negative with the Eagles. I'm not. I'm just a truth teller based on the information I'm given and plus my own opinion. But it's based more on people who work in the National Football League, which is the way we built the show. I would take the Eagles roster right now over Dallas. I mean, that's just the way I see it.
All right. Well, we will see it all unfold. Last one for Adam Caplan here in the NFL. We had some big news. Gronk has made his decision. He's going to retire for the second time here. I wonder if that's going to stick. Maybe he comes back again. But Gronkowski retires again.
Yeah, I'm slightly surprised by this. Now, I understand he's had major injury problems, back surgeries, and broken form, and what have you. And as you said, he retired once. I thought this would be a one-year situation for him to come back, but he's not going to do it. This does impact him a little bit. Now, they did address the position with Kate Otten, who was a fourth-round pick, and Keft, who was a sixth-round pick at tight end. And they have Cameron Brate, who's a veteran, well into his 30s, good football player, though. But this does impact them a little bit. Remember, Chris Godwin, their star slot receivers, come back from ACL reconstruction. That's why they brought in Russell Gage, who will play on the outside. But this does impact them. Because Godwin's come back from major injury, you don't have Gronk. That does worry me a little bit, their offense, but it's not changing up the NFC South winner. Tampa Bay will win it. I'm a little bit, though, concerned you're taking a big-time pass target away from Brady, but it won't impact their ability to win the NFC South.
All right, so Gronk, maybe we'll see him back on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot he did that, yeah. I'm very curious to what he's going to do with his career and his life now that he's done with football, because
he's on every other commercial on television.
I know. Look, he's made a lot of money, no doubt about it, but he'll be great in television if he wants to do it.
Yeah. Well, maybe Friday Night SmackDown. That's on Fox, so they probably already have a built-in relationship there.
Jump off the top rope. That would be pretty cool.
All right, Adam Caplan, Football at 4. Check out Inside the Birds podcast, dropping Thursday morning at 6 a.m. And we'll, of course, Friday back with Adam here on Football at 4. Thanks, bud.
Thank you.
All right, Adam Caplan, there you go.